Hey, it's Big Avocado here. That's what I used to call myself. Anyway, this is next door to me. New avocado planting. I'm so old, I remember Hank Brokaw. He started that business, the avocado growing business, and Satakoy, I think. And a guy named Larry Rose used to work for him. These are probably clonals, I'm guessing, which means not only is the top grafted to Haas, or to whatever variety you want, but the roots somehow are grafted, or I don't know the exact word for it, but anyway, it's a known root stock rather than just a normal seedling, whatever the seedling puts out. But I noticed too, I've always been a skeptic of the mound and of the raised planting. A friend of mine swears by it, and the universities, came up with it, and it's been popular. I guess the idea is to keep the roots from getting too wet. But that's dependent on so many other factors. The type of soil, whether it's sandy, loamy, clay-like, or whatever. But anyway, he did have some pretty big mound, not a mound, but kind of, they used a tractor, and those are raised up quite a bit. I don't know if you can see them here. Take a closer look. You can see how high that is. It's probably over a foot high from the top to the bottom. And here it looks like they just made a little token effort. But it's just a few trees, so it probably wasn't worth bringing a tractor in here to make the furrow. But you can see it's windy, and you might notice that the leaves are a little bit dry. They don't like it's not even that hot, but the wind and the sunshine, and they're young trees, so they're wilting a little bit. But they painted them white. You got to do that, because that green, that new green, not being shaded by the leaves is very vulnerable. It'll sunburn and it'll pretty much ruin the tree. So the whitewash is real important. They've done that. And I'm guessing, I don't have a tape measure, but I'm guessing they've planted them row to row. It looks like about 16 and maybe 10 or 12 between the trees. And so it's closer to what I used to do. Actually, back in the day, I probably would have eliminated every other tree along the row, so you'd have a much bigger space between the trees. But I'm big on this now. I would do it this way now, because even though the outlay is quite a bit more, I used to pay anywhere from $5 to $10 a tree. I imagine they're at least double that now, maybe $10 to $20. And the clonals, you have to pay more, because there's a lot more labor involved in doing that. But I've seen how much production that fellow got over there. You gotta wait, you gotta lay out the money, and you're really looking at 5 years before you really get anything near to where you'd pay for that year's labor and water and all that. But then between 5 and 10, you can get it all back, big time. Of course, that depends on the market too. I remember, and I was way up there. See those palm trees? Anyway, looks like my property might have been just above those palm trees, maybe halfway to the very top of the mountain. Way back there. I was up 1,600 foot, from a low elevation of 16 to 1,700 foot to a high elevation of 2,100 feet, maybe a little more. But anyway, and this would be so much easier. I was planting on a hillside, which you can use to some advantage, but somebody curious looking at me talking to myself here. So anyway, I lost my train of thought, but you can, oh yeah, the price from year to year. I was remembering, I think it was 1991, there was a freeze, a hard freeze came through, but that year prior to the freeze, I was getting over $2 a pound. I think I got $2.04 a pound, and you might as well call that in today's dollars like $4 or $5 a pound. That's like $2 to $3 per avocado at retail. But then after the hard freeze, there wasn't much production, but the year after that, probably 1993, 94, the price fell to not even worth picking them. I mean, if you had to pay, you might get 10 cents a pound. Just catastrophe. But I wasn't really in full production yet. At that time, maybe I had 5, 6, 7 acres producing. But I had already developed a market, quite a few local businesses in Santa Barbara, Little Alex's, Pierre Lafon's, I can't remember all of them, but I would, the Harbor Restaurant, El Paseo, these, God bless them, you know, the entrepreneur. I mean, they're really shifting to the Corona. I mean, these restaurants, it would have, and the markets that are shut down, it would have killed me too. But at least then I had a market and I get 25, 30, 35 cents a pound. And it was profitable. I made some money, you know, it helped pay the bills. But as far as having the packing house would only pay 10, 15 cents a pound, it just was a big loser. But luckily, because I had developed these markets in Santa Barbara, I was able to sell a lot of fruit and make some money that year. But you can never tell what's happening. You can never tell. And the avocado demand's gone up tremendously. It has gone up tremendously. And I, talking to my friends that are still in the business, you know, they're making money. They're making, you know, $1 a pound. If they have a 1,000-pound bin, they make about $1,000 net after they have the packing house send out the pickers, you know, and then they pay the pickers. Anyway, that's enough for this lecture. Okay.